Hey friends, welcome back to She's At It Again. My name is Tanya, and today we're going to make a pasta dish, and it is storming outside like crazy. It looks like it's maybe 8 o'clock at night, but it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So we don't normally have storms early in the afternoon. My neighbor, I just called him to see if he wanted to come over and eat dinner with us, and he said, I feel like it's already fixing to get dark outside, but it's stormy and just crazy thunder and all kinds of stuff. My dogs are freaking out. They're sitting on my feet almost. I can't get anything done. But I've got my water heating up, fixing to cook my pasta, and we're going to make some, let me see what this is called. Romano chicken with artichoke hearts and sun-dried tomatoes. It's like, just tell me all the ingredients that are in it. But this is a good creamy, of course, pasta dish. And I had cooked some chicken the other day. Just cooked it in the slow cooker with a little bit, just a tiny bit of water and a little bit of rosemary, and it smelled so good. So I chopped it up. Then I looked for the recipe to see something to use it with. So I've made this before, and I remembered we really, really liked it. It makes quite a bit, but anyway, I want to take you through the steps. I've already got the water going, so let's get to it. So I'm waiting on my pasta water to start boiling. I have some sea salt in just plain water in this pan. Trying to keep the heat in, but I need to be able to hear it. And to this small saucepan, we're going to make our sauce, which is our cheese sauce. It's kind of an Alfredo sauce. We're going to turn our burner on about medium. And to this, we are going to add 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter. And we are going to add about a pint of heavy cream. Now, I actually went with about 1 3/4 cups of heavy cream and then added about 1/4 cup of just whole milk. So we're going to get our butter melted first, and then we'll put our cream in there. We're also going to be adding to that a 1/2 teaspoon of salt and a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. There's my ground black pepper. We're also going to be adding some cayenne to this a little bit later. You can get it up to super spicy if you want, but I don't want mine so spicy that it's offensive if somebody else comes along and eats with us. So we'll just put regular spicy in there. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. You can use bow tie pasta for this dish. Actually, the picture on the recipe has bow tie pasta in it, and it looks really pretty, but I think the other times that I've made this, I've used penne, but today we are using a spiral pasta. I think this is called rigate or something like that, but it only calls for 10 ounces. So I had a 1 pound bag, so I weighed out 10 ounces of this. So we'll set this aside. If you have not, if you look for organic pasta, which that is, I hesitate to buy just conventional pasta only because I know that wheat in the U.S. tends to be heavily sprayed with some chemicals that are not my favorite. And so I try my best to find organic pasta if it's something I can't make, and I'm not going to make those spirally things. I'm just not. I don't know how. I'm not even going to pretend to know how. But if it's flat sheets, I'm good. Macaroni, spirally things, not going to make. Bow ties, not going to make. Not worth my time. But if they have them in a store, I'm good. But if you've not checked your local Big Lots store for organic pasta, it might surprise you to find out that their 1 pound bags of pasta are like $1.60. So, which is an insanely good price. So, But if they don't have pasta in your store, chances are I've shopped that store and I bought all of them when I found them, so sorry about that. I'm really not sorry, because I like finding a bargain on pasta when I can. But I do wish you good luck in finding them if you live somewhere other than that I don't know where the Big Lots store is in your area. All right, our water's ready for our pasta. We're going to put that in. I have to keep an eye on that because I am almost guaranteed this stuff's going to boil over. And I started to put it in a stock pot, but I'm using my other burner that I actually like using for my small saucepan on that burner that I normally put my stock pot on, which I have the larger ring on the outside if I turn it to a certain number, and I use a smaller pan if I turn it to this side of the number. So anyway, that's why I'm going with this pan, and it's not ideally what I would use because I don't like using pans that are too small. I'd rather have a big pan or a big bowl and have too much room rather than put a lot of ingredients in a small bowl and it fall out all over the counter, or like this, pasta in a pot that could easily boil over. Okay, our butter is melted now, and we're going to pour in our heavy cream. I don't know if you can hear that thunder rumbling in the background, but my doggies can. They do not like thunder at all. All right, we're going to let this come to a nice boil while I try to keep an eye on this. It's going to get me. On this cutting board, I have grated about 1/4 cup of Parmesan, really good quality Parmesan, and about 1/4 cup of good quality Romano cheese. And when I say Parmesan, good quality Parmesan, I kind of have to laugh about it because it is really good quality Parmesan. And the reason I say that is because we had an exchange student who lived near us this past summer, and oh, there goes my pasta. And when he returned home to Italy, he sent back his host family this big box of things that are from his country, and one of them was this block. And when I say block, it was like multiple pound block of this fabulous Parmesan cheese from Italy. My neighbor showed up with it, who was his host family, and they said, Meb sent this to us and we wanted to share it with you. And I don't know what, I can't remember what else they said he sent, maybe coffee or something. But my neighbor had this block of Parmesan cheese in his hand, and I thought, am I dreaming this? This is stuff, when you cook, you dream about stuff like this. Like you buy a house and all of a sudden you find this room that you didn't know was there, and you open it up and there's all these exotic foods. You think, this is crazy. It's like walking into the most luxurious supermarket ever. But when he showed up at my door with that block of Parmesan cheese, my mouth just hung open, and it's like I'd won a prize, and I didn't believe it. I thought it was a scam maybe, but my neighbor is not a scammer, so I knew that wasn't a scam. So he gave me this giant chunk of Parmesan, but I use it and just almost have to giggle because I felt so blessed by the fact that they would share it with us. There could not be a better gift when you cook than really nice food like that. So anyway, this is some of this Parmesan is from that big giant chunk of Parmesan that Mebratu left us or sent to us from Italy. And if Meb is watching this, thank you for the cheese, Meb. We love it. We really, really love it. Parmesan's one of those that when I'm grating it, sometimes I'll just take a chunk of it off and just savor it and suck on it like a mint or something. They're just so good. Nice salty flavor to it. Okay, we want to get our cream up to just a slight boil, and then we're going to add our Romano and Parmesan to it, but we're also going to add a little bit of cayenne pepper to it as well. And like I said, I'm not going to add the full 2 teaspoons like this recipe kind of suggests. Not really suggests, but they just hint that maybe they like it that hot. No. I can always add more, but I can't add less. And this is one of those things, I am not risking it. I like spicy foods, but I don't like them so spicy that I can't taste anything else. I may have told this story before in a different video, but we went to Scotland on a mission trip back probably 30 years ago, and the group of us went to a family's house for dinner one night, and they served curry, and they said, now this stock pot has the spicy curry in it, and this one has the mild. Well, all of us, we were just so tired by the end of this trip. We'd been there about 2 weeks, and we all decided we were going to get the mild. Well, my husband steps up. He's going to be the guinea pig for the spicy because he just kept saying, I love spicy foods. I just love spicy foods. Well, he got a bunch of it on his plate. We all got our mild curry. We sat down and started to eat, and all of a sudden, within about 2 bites of eating mine, I couldn't taste anything else. But there were all kinds of funky condiments on the table, like shredded lettuce and rice and coconut and things for you to put in this curry, which I found so intriguing. And I was interested in trying them all, but I couldn't taste anything. I couldn't taste, the lettuce just tasted cold, which that's what I needed because my mouth was on fire. And we looked down at my husband at the end of the table, and he is just scarfing his like he didn't even know anybody else was in the room. And we all looked at him and put our spoons down and said, how are you eating that? And he said, this stuff is so good. And then someone comes from the kitchen and they apologize because they had gotten the lids mixed up. And the lids are what had spicy and mild on them. So he was eating the mild. We were already eating spicy, and we couldn't taste anything by that point. But he was really enjoying his mild curry. And it was delicious once we figured out that the mild was in the other pot, and we got some of that. But anyway, that was my experience with hot and spicy foods, and that wasn't something that I look on and go, that was fun. That was painful. So like I said, you can always add more spice to it, more heat to it, but you can't add less once it's in there. So let's just go with, I have about a half teaspoon. have to show you this. I don't like moving the camera, but I have to show you this. This is what's down there at my feet because she's terrified of the thunder and the rain and stuff. She can hear the rain on the vent hood above my cooktop. And then the other one, Zoe, she's across the room behind the leather chair and ottoman. She kind of gets back there and hides. She thinks if she can't be seen, maybe the thunder won't see her. I don't know. I don't know what she's thinking, but she does like to hide behind the chair when it thunders. Trying to decide if I see a bubble from it boiling or that's just for me stirring it a while ago. I'm going to go ahead and start putting my cheese in there. Now this is just going to be the sauce. So once we get this cheese melted and our cayenne put in it, we're going to set this aside and then we will start making our other part to our pasta dish. I'm just serving a plain Italian salad and probably some garlic bread tonight. Some sourdough bread that's sliced. I always have sourdough bread made. That's what I make on a weekly basis. And either put butter and garlic and rosemary on it or butter and garlic and salt on it. It's really good. Put our cayenne in there. Okay, I think my husband might be home. I watch other people cooking on videos and they'll say, oh, you can hear the dogs barking. I'm sure they're excited because my husband just pulled in the garage. And I'm like, I can't hear their dogs, but I'm pretty sure you can hear my dogs. Zoe, he's coming in. You don't have to yell at him. He's coming in. Be calm. Your pasta doesn't actually have to boil all the time when you cook pasta, just FYI. You can turn it down on low, and as long as it's staying hot, that pasta is going to continue to cook. So just so you know. I've made a mess on the top of the stove, and that'll have to be cleaned up later, but I'm just going to keep letting it cook low and slow. Really and truly all you need is for that cheese to melt in that. So I think we're good with that. I'm going to turn this burner off and then we'll get our ingredients together for our other part of our dish. And we'll add that over here. Turn our larger burner on. Not quite on medium, but we want it pretty warm. I just opened a jar of artichoke hearts and we're going to drain those. And this is just considered a small jar of artichoke hearts. They do have the larger ones. You'll be able to tell that when you go to a store to buy some. This is 7.5 ounces. So in our skillet, we want to melt a tablespoon and a half of butter. All right, I'm going to set this out of the way. We have about 1/8 of a cup of sun-dried tomatoes. These are the kind that are packed in oil, but you can buy the ones that are just dehydrated and in a package that don't have any liquid in it. And I looked for those today, couldn't find them, went to 3 stores. I'm done. We'll get the ones packed in oil. And this is about, maybe 3/4 of a cup of sliced fresh mushrooms. I'm going to switch spoons here and go with a wooden one. Check on this so it doesn't sneak up on me again. I sliced the mushrooms and they have some moisture to them where I rinsed them off, and I don't want the moisture in there necessarily. So we're going to saute our mushrooms and our sun-dried tomatoes in the butter. I'm going to turn that heat up just a bit, so we're probably right at about medium. I just checked that camera up there and I can see, you can see the dogs going back and forth. The thunder makes them nervous. The rain makes them nervous. Just pulled in the garage. They're excited about him coming home, so they just don't even know what to do. But I wasn't even knowing that you could see the dogs at the floor. They keep me entertained, that's for sure. Okay, we're going to add our artichokes. And I didn't chop these up or anything. These are just the marinated artichoke hearts. And I think they're quartered, probably. And then, this is the chicken that I cooked. I took a package that had 2 organic chicken breast halves. And like I said, I cooked it in a little slow cooker with just a tiny bit of water. And I sprinkled it pretty liberally with rosemary. And it smelled so good when it was cooking. But I've chopped it up, so I'm hoping you can see what that looks like. But it's very, very fragrant. Of course, I love rosemary on just about anything. And as a kid, I could not even tell you what rosemary tasted like. No clue. Raised in the country, never seen rosemary. I don't think we grew it anywhere around where I lived. But when I got older and discovered what it tasted like and what it smelled like, oh my goodness. I try to add it in as many things as I can. All right, I'm gonna see if I can get a close-up of this. Maybe a close-up. There we go. Add our chicken to it. This comes to about, I think this container holds, let's see, it says 24 ounces. So about 3 cups. This says to add about an ounce of heavy cream to this. I'm not sure why I'm adding an ounce of heavy cream, but I'm going to follow the directions. I think I followed them pretty accurately last time. It turned out well, so maybe this is supposed to be sticking to the pan, but I don't think it is. So because it's so early in the day, we won't be eating this for another 2 hours or so. So what I'll do is just keep it in the pan and keep it hot. I'm going to turn the cameras off now because he's on the phone while he's walking in. So we'll be back in just a bit. Okay, that's the benefit to having a sunroom or a place like that. You can ask your husband, can you go in that room and talk on the phone, please? He walked in and the look on his face when I was talking and he knew nobody was in here with me. He knew I was making a video, so that was kind of funny. Of course, I see other people making videos and their husband walks in. I'm thinking, why didn't you just talk to him? Why didn't he get in on the camera? Now that I do it, I'm like, okay, I get it. Yeah. All right, going to turn the heat down a little bit. We're going to add part of our sauce. Just part of it, not all of it. turn that down as low as it'll go. I'm going to check my pasta and make sure that it is done. Sorry, I'm bumping the camera, I do know that. That's definitely done. Okay, I'll go drain this, turn that burner completely off. All right, so the instructions here are to add your pasta to it and then put the rest of the sauce on. What I'm going to do is just put the lid on this, and I bet you anything this is going to keep warm for the next hour and a half or so until we eat. And that'll give me plenty of time to get my bread made, my salad finished. Of course, all I have to do is pour the dressing on it and shake it up, because I put everything in a container all layered up because it's all dry. All right, I'm going to turn my burner off because I don't want this to overcook on the bottom. And I don't think it will. But I just want it to stay nice and warm. And that smells fabulous. So really and truly, unless you have a super well-stocked pantry, the only things you're going to need to get at the supermarket, other than just your pasta and maybe your fresh mushrooms, would be the sun-dried tomatoes and the small can of artichoke hearts. So if you have Parmesan and Romano, you're set. Your heavy cream. So not that many ingredients and full of flavor. And after I show you this close up, I'm going to put a lid on it. All right. So this is what our dish looks like. Okay, so you've got the whole recipe step by step. No excuse not to make it now. And I'm looking forward to eating that after a while. The dogs are totally exhausted. Look at them over there. That just wore them out. Between the thunder and the rain and Daddy coming home in the door, and I was trying to cook and couldn't pick them up and love on them, they're just exhausted. So hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for spending your time with us. I think I enjoy just knowing that there are friends out there watching just as much as you enjoy watching it, hopefully. So I hope you try this recipe. We look forward to sharing something with you again soon. Thanks.